The top story I wanted to talk about is that Russia is training troops to use nuclear weapons on the battlefield. This was announced by Russia's defense ministry on Wednesday, and the plan involves training Russian soldiers in the southern and central military districts to first secure tactical nuclear warheads onto Russia's Iskander-M ballistic missiles, and then load those nuclear armed missiles onto various warplanes, and then finally in how to fly those warplanes on missions, which would launch those nuclear missiles at their targets. So this is intricate training that Russian soldiers are undergoing, and it's all for the purpose of being prepared to strike Ukraine with nuclear weapons. Now, these are tactical nuclear weapons. As I said, that means they're smaller and less powerful than strategic nuclear weapons. They're designed for use on a battlefield in a military situation instead of being designed to flatten entire cities the way many strategic ones are. But even still, this is something that we can be sure the Europeans are deeply rattled by. This is only the latest sign of Russia's determination to conquer Ukraine, and it's only the latest threat by Russia to use nuclear weapons. And Ukraine is, of course, in Europe. You know, it's part of Eastern Europe. It borders EU nations. And so Russia's aggression is something that the Europeans have been shaken by and changed by. Just a few days ago, Poland's foreign minister warned European allies that Russia's aggression and all the questions about America's reliability mean Europe needs to change more profoundly than it already has. The foreign minister prepared a 5-page document that he gave to other EU leaders all about this, just stressing that the nations of Europe need to be more militarily powerful and more militarily unified with each other. So that's been a huge part of the story with Russia's war since the beginning. This war is terrifying to Europeans, and especially Eastern Europeans, and that fear is bringing about a more militarized and a more closely unified European alliance.
I think that's an important point. I don't know whether it would have been in the document that you're talking about, but I did see where I think it was Poland's foreign minister told Hungary, you should quit the EU and go make join Russia. From this perspective of, we want to have a joint military, we want to unify, we need urgently to do much more together, and you're standing in the way. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, Hungary has been very firmly in the Russian camp. I wouldn't say firmly, but they're definitely wavering between Europe and Russia. And Orban is a close ally to Putin. So you can see why someone like Poland says, look, just get out of here if you're going to be the weak link and prevent us from being as unified as we want to be.
And it's a great example of how this whole story is pushing Europe in the direction that we're expecting from Bible prophecy, where we have a whole number of very specific forecasts. You know, not just generally Europe's going to become more powerful. That is part of it. There's a lot more specific detail to that, though, based on what we get in the Bible. And one of those is a Europe that shrinks down from 23 nations to 10 nations. You know, that's just one detail, not necessarily the most important. And, you know, Hungary may well be one of those 10 nations. Maybe they won't. But the fact that you're having Poland kind of saying, look, we need a smaller European Union so that we can respond to Russia's aggression, you know, that's a very specific fulfillment of what we're watching for. And there are a whole number of other specifics.
That's right. And one thing that Trumpet Editor-in-Chief Gerald Fleury has called attention to since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, all the way back in 2014, is Europe's reaction to it, Europe's reaction to Russia's belligerence and its nuclear threats. And Mr. Fleury has explained that that is because of Bible prophecy. He wrote an article back in 2014 that says, we've been prophesying for around 70 years that Eastern Europe would become a vital part of a new European superpower, a resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire. And then he says, the fear you see in Europe because of events in Crimea is going to cause 10 leaders in Europe to unite in a sudden and dramatic way and in precise accordance with the Bible's description of that European empire. Europe's new fear of Russia is going to play a major role in hastening the fulfillment of that prophecy, end quote. So, you know, with Russian soldiers now actively training to strike Ukraine with nuclear weapons, it is vital for us to keep on watching Europe's response. Many Europeans have been shaken by the core, and we just have to understand that that fear is transforming Europe.
And I mean, what bigger source of fear than nuclear weapons?